Okay, so the one thing we all know with domestic violence, that one saying that just runs a line at, you never know what goes on behind closed doors. And that's because we all know from people that have been exposed, for the brave that have stepped up, that most and the majority wouldn't have even known the abuse, the regime they were living in, because this silence that comes within this home, within this dynamic, within this relationship, the fear, the demeaning, non-worthy way in which they treat you will take hold. The isolation and segregation, as you've got nobody around you anymore because they've taken over that also. And it just leaves people stuck in this cycle, stuck on this loop of non-worthy, demeaning in everything that I know to be true after growing up in domestic violence and abuse as a child. I watched it. I understand it. The emotional feelings that will come and be attached to that action. Now, thank you to the flight attendant that opened that door at that plane of Emmanuel Macron and his wife, and we witnessed that moment in which she was there to say, remember your place. I'm not happy, as she takes control in that moment just before he's about to step off the plane. Don't underestimate the feelings, the emotions, the shock, the non-worthy that he would have felt as witnesses, as in the staff on that plane witnessed her doing this, because she don't care who's in situ or in place, and which is only the tip of an iceberg, I believe, of what's really going on a deeper level when there are no one in situ. We look at their history in how he met her as a child. She was his teacher. The dynamic, the control, the power balance has always been in situ since day one. Him being 15, her being 40, her own child being in the same class. It's wrong. But it doesn't seem to be called out the same, does it? It doesn't seem to be called out in the same way as if that door would have opened in the same situation, but we role reversed it. And it was Macron doing that to her on that plane, because there would have been outcry. People mock it a little bit because they don't agree with him politically, but it still doesn't create the same buzz, does it? Because if that would have been him doing it to her, it would have been a tick box. Yes, a man attacking a girl. But as we can see, so evidently over the last few years, or the likes of Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, in the way she was fighting, attacking, physical, in the way she was, the emotional manipulation of I need you, you've got to protect me whilst I hurt you. And then we watched the Meghan and Harry saga, the isolation and segregation. We've watched this man go from there to barely there on the main stage, but no one really takes it there. Then we see this, a president of a country being belittled and degraded on full view. Yet it doesn't create the same, does it? But then we've got this, we're in this realm of toxic feminism where women are kind of glorified for this behaviour. They're placed on a stage even more. And for me as a mom who was once abused by a man, but now I have 2 sons in this world, how no? And that's why I will speak up on this, because not only that, so you see that shock on his face, which speaks to me, that's not banter, that's not joking around, in which he says. Because when Macron comes out to say that, again, that saying of a woman of I banged my head on the door frame, it's the same kind of language, just banter, just joking. We see the shock on your face, Macron. We see you literally. But then we see you step out and put your arm out for her to link on. But she's still angry, isn't she? She's still angry with you because the paps caught her doing that to you. And that's your fault. And even now you're masking as much as you can, and you put your arm out for her to link on as you guide her down the plane. She rejects you because she's now angry with you, because it's now your fault that she's been placed out on full view. We see the masking. But more sadly, We see the self-soothing of this man who has got no control over his marriage, no control by the looks of it over his wife, because the control from the minute they started this relationship was in the palm of her hands, as she was a teacher at school and he was a vulnerable child. The self-soothe as he grips on, because he knows what's been going on is just been exposed for all to see. And is he so worried about that traction on the evening news? Or is he worried about the backlash when he gets home and that door shuts and nobody can see? But obviously these are my opinions, my thoughts, placed out to you like a true movie review. It's someone that grew up in domestic violence, coercive control and abuse, in someone who watches it proactively happening on the main stage and on the news.